Hi, I'm JaNeka.
I'm Genice Chantel.
I'm Erica.
And I'm Angie.
And welcome to Becoming Her.
So we're going to dig right in. Hey, sis.
What you looking at me for?
We're going to dig right in.
Tell us something about you.
Oh my. My. So I think I'm going to talk about trauma. Childhood trauma. Wow. So if I start crying on this episode, y'all bitches owe me dinner.
We here.
Oh, I got you, boo.
Okay, we got you.
And I ain't no cheap date.
What you want?
So just know that.
You can get anything from the kids, man. You got
Supersize.
So nobody really talks about childhood trauma and the effects that the grown folks' actions had on the children. You know, I can remember when my uncle was murdered. It's probably back in like 84. So I was about 10. And I woke up to my grandmother just screaming, running out the house in her house coat and slippers, walking up to Liberty Road. And I'm just tagging along. And she's trying to get to the scene where my uncle is. And because I'm a kid, nobody's really paying the kid any mind. So I move a little closer and closer. And I can actually see my uncle laying in the doorway of it was then a shoe shop. Used to fix shoes, shine shoes. And I could see he has on red sweatpants, white tennis shoes. One leg is straight. The other leg is bent. And no one ever asked, is that child okay? Like, what did she see? And I can see it clear as day. Clear as day. And stuff like that has a lifelong effect on a child. I'm an only child, and I can honestly say my parents didn't have a fucking clue what they was doing. Like they did not have a clue, and they were just a dysfunctional mess. But I don't even think they knew it.
Probably not.
And I can remember as far back as 4 years old, the violence and the disrespect from my father towards my mother. And I know it changed who I was supposed to become. It made me not take shit from anybody.
You sure have not ever.
Like, it's like I made a pact with myself that I would never allow a motherfucker to treat me the way that my father treated my mother. Like it was, it set in so deep that it created other problems for me down the line that I didn't even know I was creating, because you start to tell your subconscious. They say that from age 1 to 18 is when when that trauma of everything that you go through really sits in your subconscious. So every experience you have for your first 18 years of life is embedded in your subconscious. I'm 47. That's a lot of shit. That's a lot of shit. A lot of vivid memories of drunk driving with me in the back seat and sliding back and forth in a fucking car, and like thinking
not knowing if you won't make it home.
Girl. But that wasn't even my thought.
Oh, okay.
My thought was, because I was a kid, like, oh my God, this is going to be a long fucking night.
As a kid.
Like, I knew when my father showed up drunk and picked me up that night was not going to be a good night.
Wow.
How do you know that as a child?
Wow.
You know, but you know, I wrote that motherfucker a letter a few years ago because I had to let him know. I had to make him feel what he made me feel as a child. Because I got tired of carrying that shit, carrying other people's shit that don't even belong to you.
Mhm.
Is heavy. It's heavy. So,
How did that make you feel once you wrote the letter?
I felt much lighter. I felt like I gave him back his shit that I had been carrying that didn't even belong to me. Like,
Good.
before I wrote that letter, like right now telling this story, I would be a whole fucking ball of wet mess. Like, I would be a whole mess.
How could you not?
And today I can tell my story and it does not have that same effect on me because I released it.
Good.
And he did own it. He apologized. And
Good.
there was one instance I can remember, and I was just begging him to like just leave out the house. Just let's go take a walk. And he would not leave out that house. And I was like, my heart is hurting. Like, and he thought that was funny. But
What age are you with this?
oh my God, I probably was about 7,
Okay.
maybe 7 or 8. But you know, I didn't realize until I became an adult that I was having a fucking anxiety attack.
Wow.
You know?
Mhm.
And I remember us going to my grandmother's house and him actually telling them the story
And laughing about it.
and laughing about it.
Ignorance. He didn't know.
Ignorance, but they all laugh, like all these fucking adults.
Mhm.
Like, you don't do that to a kid. But I know when you don't know, you don't
I was
know.
always say they didn't understand.
So ignorance is bliss. But he remembered that. He actually remembered that incident.
Did he understand where you were coming from after?
He apologized. He owned everything I said.
So the moment at that apology, I'm going to go back to when you wrote the letter and released, because I'm sure when you write letters.
Oh, that was a long letter too, front and back.
Tears flowing.
Oh yeah.
So when you heard the apology, what did it do for you at that moment? When
it validated my feelings, and I respected the fact that he took ownership, and I was actually able to forgive him.
Good.
That really freed me of a lot of shit I had been carrying all of these years. Like, I was always so angry, but I didn't know I was angry. I always had an attitude, but I didn't know I had an attitude. It had become who I was. I just thought that was who I was. And it wasn't until I started to see my father in me when I was parenting my sons. Listen, I'm sorry, but the oldest kid, they like the sample kid.
Unfortunately.
You know, like they don't come with a manual. So it's like trial and error.
On the go.
You know what I'm saying? So he caught the brunt of my ignorance and my trauma. But when you know better, you do better. So each of my kids, I have 3, got a different version of me. You know, by the time I got to my youngest son, I wasn't even raising my fucking voice. He had never even had a damn spanking. Like, because when you know better, you do better. You know, my granddaughter, I let her do whatever the fuck she want within reason. You know what I'm saying? Because she's 4, and I have so much patience. I can just watch her. Like, she ain't hurt nothing. I don't give a shit if she ride the scooter through the house. Like, I don't care about stuff. Like, it's nothing. She's 4. But my trauma has taught me, because I don't remember a whole lot of good memories from my childhood.
I get them either.
I don't. It's not a happy time. I don't remember. Oh, when I was, you know, it's just really not a lot of happy memories. But I remember a lot of the sad shit, and it just made me so hard. So, you know, I used to try to go around, go under,
Instead of going
go
further.
over,
Mhm.
peeping around the trauma.
Mhm.
Like, bitch, you still there? Yeah, bitch, I'm still here.
You
And
gotta
I
go
said,
through.
shit. I gotta go through there.
Yeah.
Open that door. So did it affect your relationships growing up until you got to the point where you forgave yourself, you forgave him, you forgave yourself for not saying anything?
I hadn't forgiven myself.
Okay. So take us through that process.
I'm just getting to the point where I'm forgiving myself. Giving yourself grace is, you wouldn't think it's hard, but it's hard. Like, it's hard, it's painful, like it's,
Because you think you're not deserving.
you think you're not deserving.
Exactly.
And when you growing up, I always felt like I wasn't that kid. You know how you watch movies and you see the father, he's abusive to the mother, the child goes and hide in the closet.
Mhm.
I wasn't that kid. I wasn't that kid who went and hid in the closet. I was the
You
kid who was trying to get off my mother. Like, I'm in the middle. He picked me up. He moved me to the side. Like, I wasn't that kid to run away.
So you was experiencing
So
it
I
head
experienced
on.
everything head on. So I carried a lot of, I felt like I had to protect when I should have just been
Been a kid.
a kid.
Somebody should have been protecting you.
Yeah.
Right. So what did I do? I married a man who doesn't protect me, who didn't protect my feelings, who didn't protect my heart, who, God forbid we got in a scuffle, I don't think he would know how to protect me. Like, that's just real.
You don't
No,
feel safe,
you don't
sis.
feel
No,
safe.
you don't feel safe.
I don't feel safe, sis.
That's the one thing we want in a relationship.
Absolutely.
Safety.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And
You turn around, he be going.
listen.
Mm.
Or I ain't gonna say he gonna be gone, but he gonna
be
pull
behind
me
you.
a few times.
Be behind
But
you.
I better keep the fuck up, cause I don't know.
I was like,
That's just
nothing
real.
about that. But
Now,
okay. But that's what you choose
but
because
my father was a great provider. My husband was a great provider.
right.
Great provider.
Wrong, Peter. We want protection too.
Yes.
Provider.
I get it.
Right.
It. But they say you usually pick a man that's this like your
Father,
father.
this is
Your dad.
Ooh,
Yeah,
fuck.
that's true.
No communication skills.
Mm.
My father had
That's
no
your father.
fucking communication
Your
skills.
father. Yeah.
Even to this day, and he's 70. No communication skills. What did I fucking do? I married a man who does not communicate.
Wow, that's deep.
Trauma. You attract who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You attract who you are. So somewhere along the last, I'm gonna say 3 to 5 years, I made a conscious decision without really even noticing that I was making a conscious decision that I didn't like who I was. I didn't like how I showed up. A lot of times I don't even think I showed up. I didn't like to be seen. I always wanted to be in the background. I just believe you should tell children that they are beautiful.
Yes.
You should tell children that they are smart and that they are more than enough.
They are worthy.
Because if you don't tell children that, how are they supposed to know?
They will not. Until they end up in a relationship
Mm-hmm.
that drags them through and then they gotta figure it out.
Listen, my granddaughters are gonna be so fucking sick of me. I don't care.
Because you is smart.
That's right.
That's
right. I tell her
her
all the time, because I need her to know. I need that to be embedded in her subconscious that she is beautiful and she can be whatever she want to be. I just remember, in high school, if I my report card, I mainly got good grades.
Oh, bad as hell.
But instead of my mother focusing on that, she would say, well, why you got these absences over here? Why you got these absences over here? But I'm like, but I got A's and B's over here.
Down.
Like, why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
That was building up in my subconscious that I was never good enough. Words are important.
They're powerful.
Very powerful. Very powerful. And it took me a long time to realize that I had childhood trauma, because they don't talk about that. Nobody talks about trauma. I didn't know anything about depression growing up. I didn't know anything about trauma. Like, I just didn't know. That's not stuff that we talked about. Therapy.
What's that? That's a cuss
What?
word. Yeah.
Still is.
What you need that for? What, you crazy?
Right. Girl, you need church. You need to go to, listen.
Right.
Listen. That ain't it.
It's not
Like,
it.
no.
Talk to somebody.
Talk to somebody. I ain't ashamed. I go to counseling.
Me too.
Me three.
Listen.
Every week.
It's
My therapist need
mandatory.
a drink at the
Every
meeting, but
week.
I go.
Listen. Because healing that trauma is the key to happiness. And my whole life, I have been searching for happiness in people, in relationships, not realizing that I needed to have that relationship with myself, that I needed to love myself as much as the love I was seeking on the outside. I'm just learning that shit, like within the past year, and healing trauma.
So where you are in your life right now, if I said these 2 words, how would you finish? I am
Powerful, fearless. Yeah.
Do you believe it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Goddamn right.
said it with confidence.
Listen, anybody who knows me knows I'm not a transparent person. I know Diamond K is thinking like, what the fuck? She been the loudest one here all night. Listen.
This is becoming.
This is becoming.
Becoming.
I have not been this transparent in my entire life. But when I walked away from my marriage, when I finally chose me instead of him, and stopped worrying about what the fuck people was going to say or how it was going to look, like, I can honestly say I give 0 fucks.
0.
About who think about what. And listen, I even had to tell my mother, and she was like, well, why would you do that? Because y'all been together for so long. I know she meant well. I said, Ma,
you want me to stay miserable?
No.
We're not.
I said, are you happy?
And
she said, oh.
She understood. Yeah. She understood. That was it.
Shut it down.
Because they
3
still
simple
together.
words. Are you happy?
They still together. I could never. And I'm like, now, although, let me be clear, my husband was never abusive, but he also didn't feed my soul. So why should I have to settle?
You should not.
Just because society says you married, y'all been together this long, well, y'all have so much.
That's not what God wants.
But my soul is screaming, bitch, get out. Like, you dying, like you not where y'all need to be. Y'all don't even vibrate on the same energy levels. Like, you're never going to have the life that you deserve if you stay.
And that is yours.
Yes.
It's yours.
And I fought that for a very long time, because I'm like, Here I go, bitch, being loyal. But I want to take him with me.
And he not ready.
He not ready.
Mm-hmm.
He not ready. Because I'm doing my shadow work. I'm healing my traumas. And he not doing the same. That's never going to work.
You growing and he's not.
Right. But I'm healing my traumas. Everything go back to the traumas. You cannot avoid the traumas.
You have to face it.
You have to face them head on. And I'm a firm believer in spiritual readings and prayer. I ain't never prayed so much in my life. Thank you, JaNeka.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna tell y'all.
You're welcome.
I'm a boss boo. You know, I text her and I'll be like, I'm having a rough day. I need a prayer. I'm on it. Get on my knees right now.
Yep. That's her.
That's her.
She send that text through, Father
Right,
God.
never ended up
Listen. She turned me on to those Bible plans that I read every day.
Yay.
I fell off for a long time, but
That's all right. You
I'm
can
back.
fall off. Yes.
But
I see it come through my phone. Ding. Janice just finished the
Yup.
ding. Janice just, I'm like, yes.
I said, yes,
Absolutely.
request.
because I gotta heal these traumas because
I love it.
I know that there is a greater life for me.
It is.
And I don't have to settle
You don't.
just because it looks good on paper.
You don't.
You know, just because you wouldn't walk away from, we're not the same people. My life, because for real, and I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but everything my husband gave to me, I can buy myself.
Of course you can.
Like, I need you to give me what the fuck I can't give me.
Right. Say that again.
I need you
Mm-hmm.
to give me
Mm-hmm.
what the fuck
Mhm.
I can't give myself.
Yeah.
I heard that right.
Y'all heard it?
And
Okay.
the shit I was asking for didn't even cost no money.
And it's always that.
It ain't even cost no money.
Nothing.
Not a dime.
Just your time.
Just
and
your
effort.
time and effort. That's it. That's
They
it.
don't get it.
They don't get
At
it.
all.
But I want to go back a little bit when you were talking about the staying married
Mm.
for other people.
Mm.
Because I went through that. That is so crazy because you don't want
You
people
want to
to
save face.
think a certain thing about you and what may or may not have went wrong in your marriage.
That's right.
That is crazy. For years, I'm like putting up with going through dealing just because I don't want my foot to think I failed.
But you failing yourself.
But I'm failing myself the
Daily.
whole time.
But sometimes failure can be your freedom.
Oh,
but you don't know that in that moment.
You don't know
It's
it in your moment,
Yeah.
but learning
Yeah.
sometimes and
people
a lot
looking
of
up
times,
at people always look up to you like, y'all got this, y'all got that, everything looks so wonderful. I inspired to be like y'all.
Let me
I'm
tell y'all
thinking
something.
you don't even know that.
Give my
half
story
of
what I
it.
put up with.
Boy George song Time.
Mhm.
Time Clock of the Heart.
I
Time.
won't give you
Listen.
time. Mhm.
I don't care if you're together for 17 years. My parents have been married for 48 years. They've been together since my mother was 12. She is now 65. All they have is time.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
That is so
I'm sorry,
miserable.
and me. But other than that, there is nothing else.
That's so sad.
That's so
That
sad.
is.
My cousin and I had a conversation. She was saying how she was there on the deathbed for both her grandmother and her grandfather. And they expressed to them the regrets in their life. And they both regretted staying in the marriage and not doing really what they wanted to do.
Who want to do that?
Who want to fucking do that? When I'm on my deathbed talking to my granddaughters,
It's not about regrets.
It's gonna be about wonderful things
Listen.
that I've experienced.
I want to be able to
And the
tell
legacy I
them
left
I
behind for
did
them.
my life my fucking way.
My way.
And you can do the same thing. You don't have to settle
You should not.
just because society says that this is how it's supposed to look.
You should not.
No.
Paint your
So
own picture.
healing my traumas is teaching me a lot about myself. I'm still learning. I'm learning to let grown kids be grown kids.
Fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids. Listen, I love them to death. I don't really mean fuck them
Same,
kids,
man.
but fuck them kids.
Mm.
But they have to learn their own lessons. Even when we see them get ready to clip that curve, it's nothing we can do. They have to learn their lessons just like we learned our lessons.
So I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So going back to all the things that you went through when we were younger, we always like, why am I going through this? Why am I going through this? Have you went through the experience where you saw someone else going through the same thing that you went through and it says, this makes sense now? It makes sense that I went through it and I'm glad I'm not here anymore and I can help this other person. I can
help the other person.
not
Well,
help them.
I'm trying to answer that
Yeah.
just because I know that I've had that experience on multiple levels, but I just said to sit in your living room when I say I think I went through everything that I went through in my marriage and my divorce
To be able to be
to
there
be
for
there,
me.
to be able to be there for you, because it was like when you telling me your story, I'm like, yep, that happened to me. Yep, this is what you need to do.
And I'm gonna tell you that helped me out a lot because you know when you make life-changing decisions, we were together 17, 18 years. Like that's a big ass
life altering.
yes. So then you start to doubt yourself, like, oh my God, what the fuck did I just do? Then I'm over here, I gotta pay all the listen, I gotta pay the bills. I can't even get my nails done in 2 weeks. Like like what the fuck is really going on here? And then I have to say, chill out. Chill out. How do you feel in your body? I feel pretty damn good. I know I made the right choice.
Self-confirmation.
Yes. That's the damn devil trying to no. Bitch, you can't come in. You can't come in. No.
That's
So,
true. So I
yeah,
believe
Thank
that.
you for
like,
sharing. That was
Yeah, that
amazing.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And I think that everything is done in God's timing. Like we go through the things that we go through, you know, like it's a purpose behind the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Older I get, the more I believe that. And God put certain people in your life for a reason. There's a reason for a season. But I'm so thankful for the people that He put in my life for reasons. And He put certain people in your life like way back when, and you don't know like why this person was in my life, because He knew
You was gonna need
this
that ass
day
in the
that you was
future.
gonna need this person. This person
You're
is gonna
welcome.
be parallel to you, going through the same, if not similar things that you're going through. 'Cause I remember like years ago, before I came to be one, that's how me and JaNeka met. And we both were married, and we both were going through things. And now that Facebook has this thing, and I don't know how long it's been, but they do this memory thing. And it goes back, I think, like 10 years or so. Like, and it shows you like different posts or whatever. And I always, at the 12, I always go back and look. Sometimes it makes me sad, because it's bringing up memories of my son. But then sometimes it shows you memories of me posting about when I was married and like how miserable I was.
Oh.
And then it posts of, I could see different posts. I was the post that I read of yours not too long ago, where it was a post like a poem or something that she posted, and I commented, and we were both going through like similar things in our marriage at the same time, and I had no clue because we just saw each other in the workplace,
Right.
and
Wow.
when I see her when that kind of work, you know, kind of be more, she got it all together. Like she got it all together. I had no clue. When she see me, I was like, I got it all together. But at the late night hour, we was on Facebook.
Listen, letting it all out.
Yes, and I was like, that's crazy. And you think about the things that you're going through now, but then you look back and stuff like that and think about like how far He brought you. He brought you, and He brought me from a mighty long way. And like you said, we stay in situations. I know I stayed in my marriage because I had both parents, and I wanted the same for my kids. And despite how dysfunctional it was and what I was going through, I stayed because of my kids. Like I wanted my kids to have two, both parents in the household, and like you said, like excellent provider. it was just every fucking thing else. You know, it was like abusive. And what made me leave was the one reason why I was staying. And when my son gave me the okay and said that, it took a child to tell me that. You know, I'm downstairs crying with my head down. And that's time I just looked up and I just saw my son's feet. And I lifted my head up, and it was my oldest son that I lost. And he said, "Ma, why are you putting up with this?" And I had no answer. He said, "We don't need him." The next day, I started packing my stuff. He was so far gone in his world, he didn't even know I was packing. I was packing my stuff. I was packing his money.
Yes.
Because all this time I'm thinking like you was in and you was doing stuff for me, but she was doing stuff for you. You was keeping me secluded. You started making me, you know, where I wouldn't be around my family as much. I wouldn't be around my friends as much. People on the outside look, they be like, hey, Angie got this nice house. Angie got this nice car. They see the clothes, they see the jewelry, they see all of them. They come over. We always giving parties. It's like they come over, they see all that. And they see him like giving me like gifts, something like that. That's what they see, but they don't see what I go through closed doors. Like I would give it all up in a heartbeat to have a peace of mind.
Yes.
And when I walked away, I walked away. Like I packed my kids and stuff, and I got their stuff, and I walked away from a whole third floor of like clothes and all that stuff. I left all that shit and packed my kids up and was gone. And I had to make that step. And because he secluded me and didn't want me to work, you know, he supported me in certain things. Like he paid me to get my real estate license. He paid me to get my life insurance license. But
he didn't support you to get a job. Right.
He didn't want me to work. When I decided to work outside the house, I worked at one job one fucking day. He had a fit. It was an issue. Because he didn't want me to work. Like you wanted me to, you support me in all this stuff and give me all these credentials, but you didn't want me
something to do.
Yeah, but you didn't want me to work.
Right.
When I decided to do something, work inside the house, he built me a fucking office. Decked out everything I wanted because it was inside the house. I didn't have to go outside the house. And I'm like, all right, people are like, oh, you got a man. I'm thinking the same thing. But no, actuality, it was his way of controlling me.
Spotlight by Jennifer Hudson.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes,
I know
that's
exactly
how I
what you're talking
felt
about.
in my marriage.
That's exactly what you're talking about. I'm like, this was crazy, and it didn't dawn on me. And when reality was one day, and I was downstairs, my office was downstairs, is when I heard him get up, and I'm like, I jumped, and I'm like, this is not how life's supposed to be. I feel like I was a Lifetime movie. Like, why am I jumping? Because I heard his feet hit the ground. Like, oh, I gotta get up and make sure his dinner done. I gotta make sure his clothes are laid. I gotta make sure like this ain't how it's supposed to be. And that was like reality to me. And I was like, I got my stuff. And my kids came home one day, and I was like, this is a new address. Like we left. Like I left. I took my kids, and we were gone. His whole world crumbled when I left. And the whole time I kept telling him, you don't go through as much as you should go through because of me, because I'm covering you. And he never understood that until I left and took that coverance with him. And when I say his world crumbled the next following day, like everything hit the fan. Because I was there, I was covering him, and he didn't understand. He laughed at me when I told him
He ain't understand.
He didn't understand. He laughed at me.
Now, don't he?
Yeah, he understand now. Like he laughed at me when I told him that. Like he told me I wasn't gonna be nothing. You got 5 kids, motherfucker. 3 of them yours.
What?
We got fucking 5 kids.
I came with 2. You put the rest on.
Yeah,
me.
like I'm like, what you mean? Like I find nobody gonna want you, this and that. Okay,
We follow this up on our next show. we go ahead and start the next one off like that. But we want to say thank you guys.
That's funny.
That is hilarious. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you guys, and we hope that you continue to support us as we continue to support
Share and like, share, save,
and keep healing,
Yes.
evolving, and restoring,
Yes.
Absolutely, and becoming.
and becoming.
See you next time.
Bye.